And you were saying that one of the shifts was that you wanted the magic not just to be about magic, but you wanted to have some sort of a meaning behind everything. Can you talk more about that? How do you do that, and what is it what is the message that you're trying to get across to people in different pieces, or maybe it's stories, or I don't know. What is it?
Yes, absolutely. There are different ways to approach that. For me, I don't have one answer to that. Something that I keep going back to over and over and over. A few years ago, I stumbled upon an interview that Neil Gaiman is my favorite author in the whole world, author of fiction and fantasy. Back in the 80s, probably, he interviewed Lou Reed from the Velvet Underground, and something Lou Reed told him, Neil Gaiman, the interviewer then, was that Lou Reed had always approached rock and roll from a storyteller's perspective. In his mind, the lyric should be able to stand on its own before it gets married to the music. Some people just want the fun and the excitement of the rock and roll. But for those who are searching and looking a little deeper, he wants the lyrics to be able to have merit on their own. I think the same applies to magic. At least that's the way I'd like to approach my magic. I aspire that the script on paper is able to stand on its own before it's married to the magic trick. Even if I were to give you a transcript of the words that I say, hopefully you'd find something meaningful and interesting there, more than here I have one card and I will put it over here, and now I snap my fingers and now it's a different card. When that's married to the magic, that's wonderful. But on paper, it's a little dry.
It reminds me of Rene Levon. Rene Levon, I remember reading this interview where he said, you have to decide whether you want to be an artist or a magician. And he talked about the difference and the distinction of both of those. And I think you have to read the whole article and stuff, but I think it is true in terms of what it is you are producing to the audience and how they perceive you. You have to make that decision as to whether you want to be a magician or more than a magician. And I think it goes beyond what people think of a magician. I think the term magician has been denigrated in the culture. People don't see it as a very serious thing. Oh, it's a magician, you know. But regardless of that, I think there is still a separation between the idea of somebody being a magician and somebody being an artist. But I love that idea of being able to do the presentation and for somebody to get something out of it, even without the magic. It's really beautiful. I mean, I don't think for me, I'm just talking about my own style. For me, I would not be able to do that for everything. Some things that I do are just magic, but I love the idea of that, of having that poetry, that lyricism, that meaning behind things. And when you were doing that new show, that new concept, what was the reaction from people who had seen your work before and maybe new people? What was the difference in between you performing your stuff with your, you know, your crazy hair and your character to shifting to a more meaningful approach to magic?
People noticed, and that makes me immensely happy.
What did they say?
That they, both people who were familiar with my work and people who weren't, given that this was a theatrical show, we have the luxury of reviewers coming to the show and giving an objective review, or, well, reviews are never objective, but at least taking a look at the work from a distance and trying to put an objective review in print. Something people commented on was that, oh, he explores this and this and these ideas throughout the performance. That the show we are talking about, Post Haircut, was called Red Thread. The name comes from the mythology, the Greek mythology of Ariadne, who weaved a magic thread, and she gave the thread to Theseus, who entered the labyrinth to slay the Minotaur. So the legend goes that Ariadne gave the thread to Theseus. He tied an end of it at the beginning of the maze of the labyrinth. Then he entered, slayed the Minotaur, and because of the thread, he was able to find his way out. So the thread is a metaphor for a guidance throughout a journey. And the show revolved around the idea of improbabilities. We, more often than not, at least I used to think, and I think many people think of magic in terms of impossibilities, cutting a person in half and the person being unharmed, levitating, transformation, translocations. All those are traditionally conceived to be impossible events. However, we magicians deal with improbabilities quite a lot. Classic of card magic, cutting to the aces. There's nothing impossible about it. It can be a wonderful demonstration of skill. The odds of cutting to an ace out of a randomly shuffled deck of cards is 4 in 52 or 1 in 13. Not impossible, but the odds are not in your favor. Now, if you cut to 2 aces, one after the other, the odds of that are about 1 in 200. Now, when you consider the odds of cutting to 4 aces, one after the other, now the improbability increases exponentially. So this show, Red Thread, was a theatrical exploration of improbable events. When does it start to feel impossible? When one improbability mounts on top of each other, all of those in the same space, in the same night, it starts to feel like something is out of the ordinary here. So the idea, that was the narrative throughout the show, and magic was an excuse to explore those ideas.